Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout the course of their business and share them with us so that we can learn as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn and have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn. The link to that will be in the show notes below. But on today's show, our special guest is Tim Croll. He's the owner of Tim Croll, where he is providing customized training for small businesses on leadership, communication, and team building. So, Tim, welcome to the show today. And I want to start
Thanks,
off
man.
with yeah. I want to start off by asking you a question that I always love to ask, which is this: if you were able to start again in your business today, but knowing what you know now, what would you do differently in the first 12 months?
Well, first of all, I would never start over without my knowledge, the experiences and everything else. So I would never ever go back and want to do things over again because of all of the lessons that we've learned. I think the biggest lesson that I would apply, and it took me forever to break this belief. I just something that I grew up into is that you have to take care of yourself. Business and personal, they're not separate. They are together and they're woven in every fabric of who we are. And so that is one piece that I don't want to say regret because I don't have regrets. I just have learning experiences. But that's the one piece that the realization that we have to make sure that we maintain both our personal as well as business and that it is a woven storyline, a journey that we take.
Mm. Yeah. What's the biggest thing that you found that you needed to change in looking after yourself as you started growing your business?
No, well, it's almost breaking. I mean, here's the thing: is it really comes down to where we find our identity, how we identify ourselves. When I was young, egotistical, whatever you want to call it, we created an identity within our business, and then we base that identity on whether the success of the business is good, bad, indifferent. And sometimes there's factors outside of the business that we have no control over. Economics. Sometimes there's an implosion of supply chains. I mean, shoot, it can even come down to where you have betrayal of partners and you get robbed. I mean, like there's tons of things that can happen, and we associate our identity with whether or not that business is successful. I mean, you look back when the stock market first crashed, how many people were jumping out of buildings because their identity was tied to what they were
Mhm.
doing. In all of this, we are not, the identity is not the business. The identity is we have a wealth of experience. Our storylines are so much deeper. Our families, the people, the friends, the community, all of those things have value. And that's what the legacy is that we leave behind. And redefining the success in a manner of a way of relationships rather than money, it changes the way that you think, you operate. It changes how you function and what you set as far as priorities and goals. So I think that answers your question. But if not, go ahead and tell me to
Yeah. No,
rephrase
no,
it.
no. No, it's good because I agree. There's a lot of different aspects to life and business, and you can't separate them. They're definitely intertwined. They impact each other for sure. Um, on a kind of a separate note, other than just kind of looking after yourself, when you look at the business and as you've grown over the years, what's been the hardest part of scaling what you do, but without becoming salesy or falling into that trap of just spammy marketing and things like that?
So you're saying what's been the hardest part of growth? What's been the
What's been
hardest
the hard what's been the hardest part of scaling without becoming spammy?
relationships? I mean, it really comes down to relationships and networking. I think the hardest part is physically being present. We neglect the power of energy that's transferred from one individual to another individual. In the day now, we've got AI, we've got Zoom, and I love the fact that we have these tools, but sometimes what happens is we neglect that physical contact, that physical presence in favor of a tool or AI, whatever. I mean, we have all of these things that are there and meant to help us. We can't neglect that physical presence and that physical. So I would say that that's probably the biggest challenge is making sure to maintain a good relationship and making sure that you're physically present with people rather than relying 100% on tools. Because it's easy to do. It's easy to go right into the direction of, well, we've got all these tools, so therefore I can automate everything. And then we lose that sense of personality. We lose relationship. We lose all of those pieces that are necessary in all of our business and sales.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Which leads on to another question I like to ask is I totally agree with you. Like relationships is a big thing for me and particularly the way that I work with my clients as well and what I coach them on. So what's been the one thing that you've changed in how you build relationships to make the process of generating new leads, speaking to prospects, and also maintaining the relationship you do have with clients?
Ask somebody their story.
Mm,
How did you get here? That is the number one thing that I have found that has been the most powerful aspect of it. In that discovery, as people tell their stories, because we learn through stories. In fact, I'm just reading a book. I have it right here, but it's the healing power of stories. We learn and understand when we hear stories and we relate to stories. As humans, we're kind of geared and engineered to be able to connect with somebody's story. Now, sometimes we'll resonate, sometimes we won't. But at the heart of it, when I ask you your story, it shows number one, interest. And then obviously you have to be authentic in that. I'm not using it to manipulate, but I want to hear what were the challenges? What were the trials? How did you get from point A to point B? Where did you go? What twists and turns happened? Because frankly, when we start out and we're younger, it never ends up the way that we think it's going to end up. There's always
yeah,
something that's going to happen. There's always a twist. There's always a turn. There's always a challenge. Sometimes they're very, very dramatic life death type experiences kind of a thing. And then sometimes it's as simple as, hey, we moved from this part of the country to the other part.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you're right. It's always amazing. No matter what we plan for, it always ends up being different.
Yeah.
There was a quote a long time ago by General Colin Powell, and they was being asked during all the Gulf Wars and stuff, how important is planning? And he said, "Oh, planning." He goes, "Planning is 100%. You have to plan, but as soon as the war starts, all your plans go out the window." It's really interesting. You've got
Patton
a
said the same thing.
trajectory.
It's funny when you're talking about those wars. Patton said the
Yeah,
exact same thing when they were fighting World War II. It's like, hey, I can strategize and I can plan, but if you don't execute, all it doesn't matter. He said, and the
yeah,
other interesting thing is you can have a poor strategy with excellent execution and excellent how to and excellent how to do, and you can still win because
yeah.
that execution is so critical. It's so there because everything like it just changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things I also like to ask Tim, we all go through challenges in business. It's just inevitable, but we oftentimes internalize it or think I'm the only one going through it. No one else has ever had this issue. And so I like to just talk about these things openly because I think the more that we hear about and we're like, oh, okay, we're all in this journey together. So having said that, what's the number one biggest challenge you've been through in your business? And what's the lesson that you learned from that?
I love this question so much because you're right. I believe that this is the greatest lie ever told. It is one of the biggest false narratives, and we see it through social media and everywhere else. And we know in our hearts that it's not true, but mentally we believe this. It's just like you have this disconnect. It's just like, um, so one of the greatest challenges, and I kept this again to myself, was this belief that I had to do everything
Mm,
and that I was completely self-reliant. Now, some of that came through childhood and through some of the assumed beliefs that I got as a child, and you step into your adult life carrying some of these assumed beliefs forward with you, not really knowing that. And it's not until you get to a position where you're breaking down, and sometimes these breakdowns are emotional, sometimes they're physical, but there's four areas where you people tend to break down. It's either physical, mental, social, or spiritual. Those are the four areas. So for me, the biggest challenge, trauma, whatever you want to call this aspect was we came back and I remember just going ballistic on a garage door and beating the crap out of it in front of my family. And the reason that happened, I mean, I can give the backstory and all, but the reason it happened at the end of the day was I was physically exhausted. Mentally,
mm,
I was drained because of all the decisions. I had not been keeping up with my friends and the social group. And then spiritually, my internal core, I just had nothing left. And so when
mm.
faced with an obstacle, the only thing I knew to do was just beat it up. Like I'm just going to go through it. That's what I'm going to do. I couldn't creatively come up with a solution. I was just trying to go through it, and it was the most ridiculous decision I ever made. But it was a warning bell. hey, you better take care of yourself or this could get worse. And it could turn into something really nasty in the future. And we just neglect that. So that's, I would say, the
Mm,
biggest thing I've had to overcome and the biggest trauma there.
yeah. But it's I love that you shared that, and thank you for because it's quite a vulnerable thing to share, I think. But it's I think we all get to that point, and whether we beat up a garage door or we do something else to express it, it's still being able to balance those different things between business and life, and just the balance between everything.
Well,
And I think we
let
all
me
go
say
through
this because
this.
this is really on my heart, and I apologize. I'm going
Yeah,
to just
yeah,
take a
no, go
second
for
on
it.
this. Um, I was not planning on saying this, but about a month ago, I lost a good friend to suicide, and we go through a lot of emotions when we talk about and we look back and we try to look for warning signs. But this is the one thing that I can say, and I'm still processing this, so I'm going to be a little bit disjointed and a little bit raw.
Sure.
The one thing that I can say is we all handle the quietness differently and we all react differently. If we're not building ourselves, when those quiet moments come, that's when we really start to face those demons and those giants and the big shadows. And
Mm,
unfortunately, my friend made the decision that it wasn't worth the fight. And I wish I could have been a little bit more of a good friend to be able to connect that, but there's still, he made that decision because he chose not to build the internal and chose not to create a foundation that he could look back on and say, in the quiet moments, nothing else is around. I'm strong enough and I've got people that can help me get through this.
hmm Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really powerful because I think we all go through that. There's things that I go through as well, and you do have to just say, well, what's that internal stuff? And it's not easy. I mean, I think that's you said it as well. We have this idea that yeah, it's all fine and it's all glory days. Sometimes I think it's okay to just admit, you know what, this really sucks.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. Well, and
And,
that's the whole point of what you said earlier is the fact that we live in a world that shows I'm the only one going through this and you're not. I mean, that's the
yeah.
lie, right? And so my friend ended up believing and fell prey to that lie that he was the only one going through a challenge and then chose to live that out through his actions. You're not the only one, man. You're not the only one. And trust me when I say this, there are a million people out there that want you to reach out and we want to help. We want to contact. We want to be able to have these conversations because your
Mm,
life is worth it. You are worth it.
yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree with you, Tim. Well, uh, just very quickly over the next 2 to 3 years of your business, what are you looking to achieve? I know you before we started it, you said you meant a transition in life and stuff, but
Yeah.
what are you looking to achieve in the business?
So I'm specifically I'm looking to be able to partner with a couple of companies to develop learning and development specifically on an EQ level. And that would be kind of considered as a fractional CLO, Chief Learning Officer. But I want to partner with people to be able to have a deep impact on a selected individuals. And so we're specifically pursuing, you call them small businesses, but realistically, I mean, they've got anywhere between 50 to 500 employees and crafting and creating. So over the next couple of years, we really are focusing on how do we craft and create learning experiences that are going to be active and applicable and able to be applied to our real lives, knowing that our business lives and our personal lives intertwine. So that's our plan. I
Mm.
mean, that's a big goal to kind of set out there. But that you asked me, that's the 2 to 3 year idea. So
Man, it's brilliant. I love hearing that. Well, Tim, for people that are looking to get in touch with you and learn a little bit more about you, what's the best place for them to go to and be able to find you?
yeah, LinkedIn. I am 100% committed to LinkedIn. Forsaking all of the other social channels, LinkedIn is where I'm going to be at. Obviously, I have a website. You can go to the website. It's my name, timcroll.com. But LinkedIn is where I share, talk, connect. I mean, LinkedIn is definitely it, and that's obviously just my name. And you can just do a search, and you'll find me pretty much anywhere. But LinkedIn is where I pretty much spend most of my time.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I definitely recommend everyone check out Tim on LinkedIn, and that's Tim Croll. So Croll for his last name. Tim, thanks so much for being on the show, man. It's been great
Appreciate it.
having you
Thank you.
on and you sharing your pearls of wisdom throughout your business career. And as everyone, as a reminder, everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn, have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn on LinkedIn. And until next episode, stay inspired.